All right, peeps, you voted. Mausolea Oracle of Souls gets a full review first on the channel. I put up a post last night on Instagram, or I'm sorry, a story, asking who we wanted to see reviewed on the channel first, and Mausolea Oracle of Souls won out like resoundingly over Dark Mirror. So Dark Mirror gets paused for a little while, and we are focusing on Mausolea Oracle of Souls today. So straight up just brass tacks information about the deck. It's a 36 Oracle card deck. Not tarot, it's Oracle. It is produced by Los Scarabeo, which means that the guidebook looks like it's meaty, but it's actually just a few pages. It's just reproduced in several languages. The box that the deck comes in is nice and sturdy. I should show, there's the front. It's illustrated by Jason Engel. And the description is a unique dark fantasy world where myths and legends are woven together to create a tapestry of souls. The inside of the box is a matte black. And then this again is the guidebook. It's relatively small. I do think that you do want to reference the guidebook as you're getting to know each of the entities in the 36 cards. I do think it's helpful to reference the guidebook. So I don't think the guidebook is a throwaway, but I think it could definitely have more information in it for sure. And if you do specifically feel drawn to an archetype or a face of deity in this deck, I would say do research on your own outside of the guidebook in order to get to know the energy of the being that you feel connected to. So let's talk a little bit about why you might want to work with this deck. If you're looking for a multi-purpose deck that's shadow work focused, that's dark themed artwork, I think this is a deck that you may really be interested in investing in. It is a well-rounded deck that you can use across the board. You can use it in shadow work, you can use it for journeying, you can use it to connect with archetypes and deity, and you can also use it divinatory-wise. It's a really, really great clarifier to tarot. In the description box below, I will also post a link to my most recent Decks That Shook Me video, because I do discuss this deck in that video, and that can give you some more helpful ways to work with the deck if you already have it, but you're feeling like you're struggling a little bit connecting with it. So those are some of the ways that you can work with this deck. I do think it's a very well-rounded multi-purpose deck, but it slightly pulls more shadow work, which I think is really nice because it's a great deck to have to pull into your practice when you're feeling called to work with from a shadow work perspective. So the artwork is definitely dark themed. It's actually sunny out here today, guys. I'm sorry it's reflecting on the cards, but I gotta say, I'm taking the sun today over the reflection here. So you can see we have deity referenced here with Karen, and there is kind of the key energy of the archetype or deity, and then you have some keywords at the bottom which give you jumping off points. For instance, with this deck, it's necessity, focus, and transition. Now, there are also symbols at the bottom of the deck, which you can reference with the guidebook and also work with the deck from that perspective. I have to say that personally, I'm not really working with it that way, but that is an option when you purchase the deck. And let me just see where he references that. Yeah, so like there's the Republic of Pandemonium, which then there's the Kingdom of Hades, and there's a grouping that are there, the Afterworld of Anwen, and then there's a grouping there. So you can reference the guidebook to understand that the other inner workings there of the groupings. But for me, I have to be really honest, I don't really reference that. I do have a familiarity with some of the archetypes and deities referenced in this deck, and so I haven't needed to work with that grouping or felt called to, but it may be something that you really enjoy as part of working with the deck. I have also found that this deck is really sacred masculine friendly for me. And I'm actually really thankful to have a deck like that in my collection, because I don't think we have a lot of representations of the sacred masculine in the deck offerings that are available to us. You know, not in like a healthy way. And I like that this deck offers sacred masculine energy that you can connect with and work with, or heal with, right? If it's holding a darker space, a shadow space, right? So I really like that it's not only sacred masculine focused. So as you can see here with Mother of Dawn, there's plenty of sacred feminine reference as well. But I do like that there's some sacred masculine in this deck. I think it brings a nice uniqueness to the deck itself. And if you are a collector and you're looking at purchasing this, it gives you something that's special in and of itself when it comes to working with the deck. As I said, it's a really great clarifier, like really great clarifier. It can get to the heart of shadow work, but it can also clarify tarot in a reading in a really enjoyable way. So I'm just going to be straight up that I really have come to love this deck. When I first purchased it, it was a little bit of a slow burn. Hold on, guys. It was a little bit of a slow burn because at first, you know, I purchased it, but like I wasn't called to work with it. But it was one of those purchases where I knew at some point I was going to be connecting with the deck, just wasn't sure exactly when. But over, as I said in the Decks That Shook Me review, over the year ahead readings that I did in November and December, I ended up working with this deck a lot, and I really, really came to enjoy and love this deck. It's a solid deck in my collection. It's unique. It's special. I enjoy the artwork personally, but I'm someone who likes darker themed decks anyhow. And I like the uniqueness of the energies that were pulled together for this deck. So I really, really enjoy and love this deck. I think if you feel called to the artwork, then you will really enjoy working with it as well. But I do think if this artwork is too dark for you, it may not be the right choice. I do think if you're a visual intuitive, artwork does matter in a deck. And so if it's too dark for you, it's probably not going to hit the sweet spot. But if you're okay with the artwork / love the artwork, you can really go to a very beautiful, deep place in your practice with this deck. So I love, love, love working with this deck. Now, some of you guys have said to me recently that you like when I do like just show an offering of how you can work with the deck. And so for this deck, I want to show how you can clarify tarot with it, because it might surprise you. It seems like it's a very niche deck that you would only be using to work with archetypes, but it actually can clarify very well. I'm going to pair it with Tarot of Vampires today because they're both dark themed and they look really beautiful together in our reading. So, as always, this is a sample reading, but if you feel like it resonates, feel free to take it for yourself. Let's see, what should we talk about today? What kind of sample reading do I want to do? Let's say that I want some information into a family dynamic with a family member of mine. So let's say I'm looking for some insight. So remember, I'm approaching this from a divinatory space as opposed to like a meditation space, right? So let's say I want some insight into my relationship with a family member at this point in time. Ooh, I don't use reversals of Tarot of Vampires, and Ace of Grails came out reversed. Okay. I have Lord of Grails to the Prince of Knives. I'm going to pull 2 more cards from my Tarot of Vampires deck. So let's say that the family member I want clarity on my connection with has to do with a father. Yeah, let's say a father figure with the Lord of Grails showing up. So the first thing I can see is that with Ace of Grails reversed to the Lord of Grails, there's some kind of disconnect that I'm having with this father figure in my life around healing or clearer communication, right? And then I have 6 of Scepters to the 6 of Grails. So I have double 6s here as well as the Prince of Knives. So I can see that there's another family member here represented with the Prince of Knives, perhaps a brother, or it doesn't have to be masculine energy here. But I would say if I were doing this as a reading, I would ask if my client has a brother or another family member who might be younger than the querent or myself, who's impacting the dynamic. So let's say that I want to clarify the impact that this sibling is having on the dynamic with my father in regards to our relationship. So I'm going to go to Mausolea of Souls to clarify that. The thinker, knowledge, instruction, reinvention. So when I look at this clarifying my Prince of Knives, so Knight of Swords, right? This is a whole shit ton of air energy here that we see with the thinker, and air of air here with the Prince of Knives. So I can see that the sibling involved is quite probably an overthinker on their own, and maybe kind of in my father figure's ear in this situation, having a lot to say. Okay, they have a lot to say. So let's say I want to get some clarity on what are they having to say about me in the dynamic right now. Matriarch, mother of homestead, rejection, opportunities, consequences. So they might feel like I've made some choices in my life and now I'm dealing with the fallout from that. Perhaps they're in more of a judgmental space, and this is affecting the dynamic with this father figure for me at this time. So with my double sixes, Six of Grails to the Six of Scepters, and Six of Grails in Ian's deck is a very, very, very positive deck. And Six of Scepters in general is a very victorious, positive card to pull, especially if you can believe in yourself, right? In regards to the situation. So I can see from these two cards that it's very important that as I'm approaching this father figure in my life, I'm empowered within my sense of self, but I'm also open from a water element space to communicate lovingly. So now let's go to the Mausolea Oracle of Souls to clarify this. So let's say I want to get some clarity on how I should approach this father figure to resolve our shadowed Ace of Grails. So how should I approach him? The Exile, Forsaken Soldier, Strategy, Failure, and Trauma. Okay, so I can see that while we need to have a conversation about perhaps some issues that stem from childhood together, maybe there's something we need to talk about or resolve that was left unsaid. And perhaps this is why I'm feeling the disconnect from the father figure. I probably don't want to lead with this energy, right? Instead, I want to approach from the exile state of being respectful, cautious, and maybe allowing my father figure here in this situation to initiate dialogue. Let's see what else Mausolea Oracle of Souls would like to say about this. Anything else, guys? Osiris, commitment, acquisition, and responsibility. So Osiris is a beautiful energy to draw in regards to this dynamic. It's giving me the positive hope that we can reach resolve, because remember, Osiris was literally resurrected due to Isis. She remembered him, and now he is Lord of the underworld, right? So I can see that there is an opportunity for us to find a way to reconciliation or understanding. But that part of that in how I would approach this father figure involves the politeness of the exile, right? But also the wherewithal and commitment to the connection that Osiris carries. So I can see that there's a nuanced approach in how I could come into contact with this father figure in a way that would allow us to achieve healing and understanding of each other. Just from the spread, if this reading resonates for you, I would definitely say it's not about bringing this sibling into the picture. That's only going to muddy the waters. Instead, it's more about a one-on-one conversation, and perhaps I would allow the father figure energy to reach out first in this dynamic. But coming to the connection, to the conversation, coming to the conversation from a space of empowerment, but also understanding the emotional root that lies underneath. So this is a beautiful way that Mausolea Oracle of Souls can clarify a reading in a gorgeous way. Like I said, it reads like a song. It's very clear, and it's really enjoyable as a clarifier, as well as the more spiritual path related ways of journeying with the cards individually, or using the deck as a way to connect and invoke or evoke a deity or archetype that you may want to connect with on your path. So I highly recommend this deck. But again, I do think you have to feel like you enjoy the artwork. And I do think you want to approach this deck not just to use it as a clarifier, but also as an aspect of your spiritual practice. But like I said, it's very well-rounded. It's going to do a lot for you. You're going to get a lot of bang for your buck. So if you're sitting on the fence with purchasing this deck, I hope this review helps. As always, guys, it's such an honor and a privilege to connect with you all. Thank you to everyone who voted on which deck got reviewed first. As always, I am sending you all so much love and many blessings. I'll see you in the next video.